Okay folks, for this screencast we are going to do some dlmread and dlmwrite. Dlmread is probably the easiest thing to do. I'm going to make a script here, CLC, close all, and clear. And so let's assume I have this text file of data points. Now I could, copy this guy. Oh my gosh. Copy this guy and do data equals like that, and then throw a semicolon on each of these. And then when I run this, I'm going to put this over here and this over here. And so if I run, looks like I need a thing here. So if I run this code, dlmread write, and I type in data, there's all my data. Let me change my font here. By the way, if you want to know how to change your font, file, preferences, font, let me make it a little smaller here. There you go, that way you can see it. So if I type in data, there's all my data there, and I can plot it just fine. But there's got to be an easier way to do this, and obviously there is. So the command to do it is data equals dlmread, and I'm going to just type in help dlmread so you can see all the things that you can do. So the easiest thing is just do the file name. Delimiter is what the code uses to separate variables. So in this example, the delimiter is a space here. Now, and you could have code that had, say, commas in between them, and that would be a comma-separated file. And so what you could do is you could put in like the type of delimiter and things like that. You can put in ranges and things like that and all that, but every time I use dlmread, I let the computer figure out everything that it needs to do itself. So I've never had to do all that range and stuff. I only do that for like Excel spreadsheets. But anyway, you just type in the name of the file, make sure the file exists. If it doesn't, it'll throw you an error and say the file could not be opened. So if it does read in, there's data, and obviously it looks exactly the same as this, and the MATLAB is telling me that, hey, why'd you do that twice? And so I'm going to delete that. And so in my opinion, that's way easier to do. Here, I'll get rid of the semicolon so you can see that it's actually doing stuff. That's way easier to do than copying and pasting, especially if you come in here and change this number to 2 or something like that, and then you have to then go back to your code. It's way easier to just read in the code here. Alright, so that's really simple. So then let's talk about processing the data. So this is the data file. This is a clean NACA airfoil. This is a CLCD curve. So this is the angle of attack is the first row, and it's in degrees. So I have to convert this to radians. And then CL is the first column of data, and then CD is the third column. So let's say I want to compute the lift to drag ratio. I can do CL divided by CD, and then I can make a plot that does angle of attack and LD. And if I hit F5, there's my lift to drag curve, which looks pretty insane. Lift to drag ratio of 50 is insanely high, but I mean, whatever. Okay, so let's say now I've got angle of attack in radians, and then I've got lift to drag here like this. Let's assume that I want to compute, or rather, I want to write this to a file. So just like you were thinking, dlmwrite. So there's a bunch of different things you can do. The easiest thing that you can do, it's up at the top, is just dlmwrite the file name and then the matrix you want to write. So I'm going to make a data out variable with angle of attack and LD like that. And so if I hit F5, here is my data out matrix, and then I'm going to do dlmwrite, and then again you just do the file name. So I'm going to do AO like this, like a text file, and then the matrix data out. And I'm going to hit F5, and then if you come over here, here's all my files here. There's a file here like this, and here is the data. So if you look at the data here, the first column is the angle of attack in radians, and then the second column is lift to drag ratio. And if you notice, MATLAB did its own default template for like a comma between them and the number of decimal points and things like that. So I'm going to teach you sort of my go-to dlmwrite command. So I'm going to maximize this. So what I like to do is I like to tell it, you know, hey, I want the delimiter to be a space. The reason why I want to do that is because I just think it looks nicer if you do that. So if I go back to my spreadsheet here and open it up, hang on, did it actually run? Looks like I just misspelled delimiter. How do you spell delimiter? Delim. I guess it's I, like that. Okay, there we go. So that ran. So then if I open up the file, there you go. There's a space in between them instead. I just think it's easier to read if you do that. The other thing you can do that I like to do is I like to say precision, and then I'd like to do %.6f. And so what that means is that the percent sign means that this is the format of the data that I want. The 0.6 means I want 6 decimal points after the variable, and then the f is a floating point. If you look up like formats of data files, you can find, you know, different ones that you like. Anyway, I'm going to run this. I'm going to reopen the file and take a look at it. And so there you go. So now I've got 6 decimal places after. The data's starting to look a little bit cleaner. And then finally, I like to do something called new line -pc. And so I'm just going to run that and show you what it does. And looks like it didn't actually do anything. So actually I'm not sure why that's there, but this is just a command. This is just something that I just like copy and paste. So let's say you have a file but you don't want to overwrite it. So if you want to append it, you just type in a -append here at the very end over here, and if you run that, now when you open this file, I'm going to just reload it. If you notice, there's 2 data streams here. Now if I get rid of, so if I run it one more time and hit reload, now there's 3 data sets. If I get rid of append and run it one more time, now when I reload the file, there's just that 1 data set. So I'm going to maximize this. dlm read write is really easy. Here you read in the data. Here I did a little bit of calculations and a plot, and then I made my data out matrix, and then I've got my dlm write command, the file name I want to write to, my out matrix. I want to make a space for my delimiter. I want to change the precision, so I have 6 decimal points. And then new line PC, which I forget what it does, so I guess you don't really need it, but I have it in my code. And then again, the -append if you want to append to your text file. All right, happy coding.